A space for youths in the heart of Orchard Road is set to complete its third revamp since it began almost 2 decades ago. From November, SCAPE's latest and biggest iteration will move away from retail offerings and focus more on youth-led programs such as career pathways and community building. It hopes to reach over 30,000 young people annually. Muhammad Bahajraj tells us more.
Freshening up the landscape at SCAPE. After 3 years of upgrading, this space at Somerset will open with more spaces for youth programs by roughly 30%. It expects an annual footfall of more than 2 million people.
It used to be blocks of different businesses and whatnot, but we got our feedback from our youth that they would like to have more seating capacity, more open spaces for them to very much to catch up with friends and to connect. And that's the reason why it's designed in such a way.
I'm here at the plaza of the entrance of the refreshed SCAPE. Now, there used to be retail spaces around here, but all of that has been removed. Organisers tell me it's because retail has not been as effective in activating the space, especially with the rise of e-commerce in the past. Therefore, the focus now is going to be open communal spaces for youth to showcase their talent. This is based on public feedback, and therefore this right here is also going to double as a stage for potential performances and concerts. 9 organizations are set to partner SCAPE, helping in shaping career pathways for youths in industries like wellness, AI, and sustainability.
One of the activities that we want to bring to SCAPE is Tech for Youth. This program is about bringing youth, mentoring them, coaching them, and interning them, making sure that they are ready for the real world once they leave the school. So it's definitely involving AI and the future technology of AR, VR, robotics, automation, and so on and so forth.
Once these spaces are complete, it will be open for youths to host events such as exhibitions. It will be cheaper by around half than other spaces in the shopping belt. Some can even be free upon review. Youths can also tap micro-grants for projects benefiting their peers.
The rejuvenated SCAPE is part of a larger Somerset youth belt. And within this belt, SCAPE is the keynote from which partnerships and programs will then be able to spill over into the belt and give even more space and opportunity for our young people to showcase their talents.
The refreshed SCAPE is part of the SG Youth Plan, a 5-year blueprint on how to support the nation's youth. It is set to be released in 2026.
SCAPE has taken on various looks and feels over the past 18 years. Let's take a look at how this youth hangout has changed with the times. SCAPE was first established in 2007 at the Red Box in response to a call for more youth-centric spaces. In 2010, the SCAPE building was officially launched, and SCAPE's first revamp was in 2012, when Hub Quarters was introduced as a base for youth organizations and their development programs. It went through another rebrand in 2016, when the space included new facilities and platforms for entrepreneurship and volunteerism. In 2022, SCAPE was announced as part of the Somerset Belt Master Plan that seeks to revitalize this area. And after going through renovations, the Ground Theatre and Hub Quarters reopened in 2024. Further upgrades are scheduled for completion by the end of 2025. And for more on this and whether this will work this time around, we have Mr. Ethan Su. He's head of retail at Knight Frank Singapore. Oh, Mr. Su, a lot of hope riding on this. So earlier, my colleague, 30% more space, catering for young people to sit, to talk to each other, to connect more. Will it work this time around, this revamp?
Well, I think a lot of the past iterations have focused on developing youth-centric programs. And now I think there's been more focus on bringing together different parts of this plan together, because I think we did take a break in COVID. I mean, the plans were kind of like stalwarted, during COVID period. So I think now it's time to bring it back together again. I think we have the government has engaged the views of the youth to try to co-design this placemaking programming together. I think a lot of people have been waiting to see how this new refreshed change will look like. Whether or not this change is sufficient to bring about a sustained transformation of SCAPE, I think much of it will remain in its implementation. right?
Okay, to be fair, my question was a bad question because I said, will it work? But I think you are more nuanced. So sustained transformation, that's actually
Yes.
a benchmark, right? So will something work? Will it actually hit that benchmark of a sustained transformation for SCAPE to serve as a center for youth? What do you think it needs to be?
I think it needs, for SCAPE to really have that sustained transformation that I spoke about, it really, a lot of it depends on whether the government is able to activate the youth to actually participate in the programs that they're going to bring
What would
together.
participation look like?
So in the past, I think some of the past iterations have not succeeded because we kind of look to participation and just attending events, going to the place to create, to contribute to the footfall, for example. But if you look at other countries where youth-centric precincts have been successful, places like Hongdae in Seoul and Harajuku in Japan, participation actually, it's a lot of the activity is community-driven, is driven by the community, not designed for them, not just designed for them. So it has, I think a lot of the feedback we've seen in the past was that the efforts in the past felt a little bit top-down driven, very contrived. So it requires a two-way kind of a channel flow driven from the community to make the events work, and also designed by them, for them, and with them. So I think that is the idea of creating a sustained kind of like a transformation for SCAPE. If we are able to get the community together to buy into this collective programming and a collective design of SCAPE as a youth-led venue rather than just a place, so that the change is actually created within by them, for them.
All right. I know it's probably the right thing to say that we involve someone in the creation of it, but most of us, myself included, we're very easily led. So if you tell me that's probably the way to be, and that's what I constantly hear, I'm more likely to do that. In a way, you ask youth, what do you want? Well, they want to connect. Well, they can get on social media. They don't have to go to a space. Yeah. So this space has to offer something that is much more than that. So, for example, what we were hearing earlier, entrepreneurship, wellness. So go there and pick up a cause. Is that what we mean by them growing with this space?
I think when we look at the idea of designing something for the youth, we tend to make the mistake of treating the youth as a single homogeneous group. Whereas in reality, the youth culture is actually very fragmented. We have, they range from creatives to gamers to entrepreneurs to social activists, for example, right? And without an adaptive framework that reflects this diversity, it's very hard to say that whether this movement is going to be sustainable, because youth culture is constantly evolving, right? And so without inviting them to become co-collaborators with you to design the space or what the space is being used for, it's hard to say whether it will be sustainable because it will keep changing. I think that's the beauty or the mystery of youth, the youth subcultures that we have in Singapore.
All right, and it matters because this is part of we heard earlier, a 5-year blueprint on supporting the young people in this country that will be released in 2026.
Yes.
Why does it matter that we support the young?
Well, because the youth, they are the next generation, right? So if a country does not invest in creating such youth-centric precincts, there can be many missed opportunities. Because, for example, in other countries where youth hubs are successful, they play multiple important roles, right? Socially, culturally,
you
and
mentioned these
economically.
In Japan and South Korea.
Yes,
as
that's
an example,
right.
What functions have they served?
Right. So culturally, these spaces are like natural breeding grounds for the youth to express themselves, to showcase their identities, to share and shape their identities with the community. And this also naturally gives rise to new trends in fashion, music, design, and technology, right? And it's not just for that. influences the local culture, it's also important, becomes a powerful tool for a country to export its soft power and its cultural appeal, right? So that's the cultural part of it. Economically, these precincts can actually support entire ecosystems, right? Of small businesses, entrepreneurs, designers, co-creators. And Harajuku, for example, is not just for shopping, right? It is a global hub that draws tourism and provides a significant commercial value for Japan. Socially, when these precincts are vibrant and activated by our youth, they become more engaged. And so you have better civic engagement with the youth, you reduce social alienation, and you build this more inclusive urban environment that's useful to future-proof cities, right?
Okay, all right. I'm going to cut in from you because I want one more insight before we end. We just have a minute here.
Yeah.
So, as you say, just having people there shopping, footfall, that's not enough. You measure it by actual sustained transformation. That's why a retail space just doesn't quite cut it. So more seats, more space, not enough. We're looking at implementation, effective implementation of programs. Mm-hmm. Is that your final word on this?
Well, yeah, I think I've mentioned this quite a few times already in my discussion with you. I do think that for SCAPE to succeed, for Somerset Belt to succeed within the master plan, to realize its intention for a precinct for the youth, it has to be an entire ecosystem that has to be nurtured to really allow the youth to come in, participate in the program designing, and also to participate in attending these programs, and also for the public-private partnership collaboration initiatives to take place, because it's an entire ecosystem. They provide that initiatives, the facilities, the infrastructure, especially like, for example, incubation like facilities with the educational institutions that they can collaborate with to really give the youth a place where they can experiment and grow, right, in a safe space.
All right, very tough asks, Mr. Ethan Su, the head of retail at Knight Frank Singapore.
Thank you.